Welcome to Scrollin', a podcast about the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm Ket.
I'm Davius.
This is episode number 33. All right, well, I do have just one announcement, which is that we're going to have a new recording and release schedule. So as I've been talking about, I've started a new day job, and my schedule is different. So we're just going to have to start recording at a different time, which means the episode is going to drop at a different time. So normally, up to this point, we've been recording Friday nights, and then the episode goes up on Sundays. Now we're going to be recording on Tuesday evenings, and then the episode will go up on Thursday after that. So, that might disrupt some people's routines. I do apologize if that kind of gets in the way of your listening schedule and that sort of thing. But it's just what we got to do. And I think there will be actually kind of some advantages to it. I think one cool thing will be we'll be able to kind of discuss things like patch notes and stuff earlier in the week when it's a little more fresh, a little more kind of new news. Yeah. So that's an advantage there. I think that could be cool. But there'll be other things that I kind of do like the fact that we talk about it at the end of the week after we've done a lot of testing and a lot of people have kind of shared their opinions and we have a good kind of conversation about it. So there's good and bad.
We're going to have to contain our overreactions. We're going to be talking about it real quick. So
yeah, exactly. Like on Tuesday, that's only like the day after the patch drops, right? And a lot of times like your first take can be a little heated and like, what are they doing? What are they thinking? But then by like Thursday or Friday, you've done some testing, you've had some conversations with people, and you have a little more level-headed approach to it. So yeah, we're going to have to really temper ourselves, I think. So anyway, yeah, episode will go out on Thursdays. This will be the last one that goes up on Sunday, and then it'll be Thursdays going forward. So actually, you'll get the next episode sooner than you normally do. So.
It'll be a little bit of a short week there.
Yeah. I wanted to give myself a couple of minor corrections from the last episode. We were talking about the new Explosive Rebuke set, and I said something about bashing someone to proc this set, but actually that wouldn't be possible. This set is procced by blocking an attack. So I just wanted to correct myself on that. And actually, considering that, it seems like it would pair really well with the new Void Collar set, the one that we referred to as the Magicka Fury set. And so that's a set where you take damage and you build up these stacks of spell damage. And so Explosive Rebuke seems like it would go really nicely with that, right? You're like blocking these attacks to get this proc, which you're also getting those Void Collar stacks at the same time. So
yeah, nice little pairing.
Yeah. And then also we were talking about Red Eagle's Fury, and we were basically saying that we thought it was a better version of New Moon Acolyte. And, I think it might be a little more nuanced than that. That may or may not be true depending on your build and what your goals are. But I think kind of something I realized, one key difference between Red Eagle's Fury and New Moon Acolyte, Red Eagle's Fury, it gives you, 460 or something like that, weapon damage to your weapon abilities, whereas New Moon Acolyte just gives you 401 straight weapon and spell damage. And so the key difference there is New Moon Acolyte is actually going to affect your healing, right? That weapon and spell damage will affect your healing abilities, whereas Red Eagle's Fury isn't going to affect your healing abilities at all, unless it's like Rally. Yeah, that's a weapon ability.
I think Rally would be the only one, but yeah, and that's a big difference, and I think a good one too, because as much as we don't use New Moon Acolyte, but I do think that that's good that at least New Moon Acolyte still has a place, and this new set will have a place. So I like that at least both of them will have their place on builds.
And is Red Eagle's Fury, is it a Magicka or stamina? Let me see. Yeah, so Red Eagle's Fury. Yeah, it's either or. So
that is nice.
So, I guess one thing with Red Eagle's Fury is that you could use say like Destro Staff on the front bar, Resto Staff on the back bar, and then you are getting that 460 for both your damage and your heals.
Yeah.
If you just have all your heals in the back bar and it's resto step, like my sorcerer, aside from crit surge, he just uses resto staff for all of his healing abilities.
Yeah, there's definitely a way to make that work. That'd be a nice little setup.
So it competes with New Moon Acolyte. So I don't know if that was fully a correction, but maybe we just needed to talk that out a little more. So Markarth PTS, we're in week 2. Week 2 is usually pretty slow, not a lot of exciting stuff. It's usually just like kind of minor fixes and tweaks and things like that. But there are a few things I think are worth mentioning. For one, the Iron Atronach, the target dummy that has all the trial buffs built into it, currently missing minor brittle and major vulnerability. And they say that's going to be fixed next week. But just keep that in mind if you're doing any, parse testing or anything like that. Those buffs are not present. They also added a new section to the Antiquity Codex that shows you your currently active leads. Davis, that's something we were talking like, we can't believe that wasn't already there in the first place, right?
I think we were talking about that probably like day 2 of Antiquity's launch. We're like, okay, how do we look at our active leads? Like, where's the menu for that?
Yeah. And we ended up having to get an add-on. And even that doesn't like fully solve it, I feel like. It's hard to just see like what leads can I do?
Yeah, like what are the ones that I want to do? Which, this goes back to what we were talking about last week. I love that they are adding quality of life things, making us, this will take that add-on away, no more need for that add-on. Yeah. Things that are taking add-ons away and they're just building it into the game. It's going to be fantastic.
Beyond that, they did a whole bunch, like a long list of balance adjustments to the new solo arena. I'm not going to, it would be tedious and boring to go through all that, but it's just a bunch of kind of adjusting numbers and honestly seems like they're kind of buffing the arena, trying to make it a little more difficult. I haven't tested out the arena myself. Have you had a chance to check it out?
I have not.
Definitely going to jump in there when it goes live, but I don't think I'm going to do it on PTS. But I have read over some forum discussions about what kind of how people are feeling about it, and really the vibe I get is mostly people who've checked it out feel really, really positive about it. In general, I don't think I've seen anyone say that it was a bad experience or anything like that.
I got to think how to word this correctly. It's obviously that's fantastic to hear, but I'm pleasantly not surprised. We've been talking about how they just seemingly that dev team is just getting better and better with content, which with each one of these expansions and additional content. So I'm not surprised by it, but you still love to hear that.
Yeah, totally. There's apparently a lot of secret stuff to explore. It's not really designed like a typical arena where it's like these rounds of these waves of enemies. It seems like it's designed more like a dungeon. Like you go throughout it and explore around. And yeah, there's apparently like secret stuff it's like maybe optional. So that's kind of cool.
And this is kind of even in the new dungeons they just released. This is kind of seemingly a new trend where they add in kind of these little extra add-ons or these secret rooms. I think it's Stone Garden?
Yes.
Stone Garden is the one that has like the potions and you go get the regents to build them and things like that. A really cool idea from the team to have this optional things in dungeons and arenas like this. I know players... I know there's a certain group of players that aren't crazy about this new expansion. They say, a lot of the Skyrim players are coming to ESO. Me personally, I'm all for it. More players, the better. But I think this is only going to make, new players to ESO if they've just come from like the Skyrim, the Oblivion, or, if they only ever played Morrowind. Adding in this additional extra stuff to dungeons, it's only going to kind of make that transition more comfortable. And it's just more quality to the MMO experience. A lot of other MMOs don't go to this depths where you actually have optional stuff in dungeons and things like that. It's really cool that it's not just point A to point B. It's actually this, they're really getting
Yeah,
optional with how they do things. It's really, really good change, in my opinion.
it seems like they really know their audience, and they know that what a lot of people are coming here for, probably a majority of people are coming here for, is maybe a primarily single player ish PvE experience. And they want a lot of stuff to explore. They want to be surprised and delighted at every turn, and I myself appreciate that stuff as well. So it's cool. It's really cool to
Yeah.
see.
Well, I think I think it's huge, and like your journey is probably even the best example of it. Is that when you came to this game way back when, you just played it almost as a single player game, and you enjoyed
Totally.
it and loved it, and it was fantastic. And then when you discovered the MMO part, it was like this whole extra bonus.
I feel like the ZOS marketing team could use me as like the textbook example.
Yeah.
Like the exact strategy worked on me. Like
Yeah.
I was actually kind of put off by the fact that it was an online game. I was like, well, I don't know if I'll like it, but I'll try. And yeah, I was totally just a single player, just doing my own thing in my own world for a really long time, actually. And I only kind of reluctantly started dipping my toes into the multiplayer aspects of the game after several months of just playing by myself. And then, of course, it fully won me over, and just bit by bit
Hmm.
by bit, I'm just like totally, in that on that other side.
Yeah.
Uh, Apparently, the final boss in the new arena has a DPS check, so that's just something to keep in mind. I saw like one player was complaining because they're a tank and they like to take their tank through arenas and things like that to challenge their tanking solo tanking skills. But that seems like it's literally impossible in this arena because you need to have a certain amount of DPS, or there's a one shot mechanic. And I'm not sure exactly what that DPS is, but anyway, that's something people were saying.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it seems like the consensus is that compared to like Maelstrom Arena, it seems like it's maybe a bit easier, except for the final boss fight is maybe quite a bit harder. So that's interesting.
That is interesting.
And there's apparently on PTS in the new arena, there's some serious performance problems like frame drops and lag and things like that. So if you're testing that out, just keep that in mind. I'm sure that'll all be smoothed out before it comes out. Um, just some minor fixes to the item set collection thing. As far as combat goes, really nothing major happening there. They did kind of slightly unnerf Battle Spirit, right? So Battle Spirit's like that set of buffs that you get when you enter PvP. And before, it reduced your healing received by 50%. Then they increased that to 60%, and that's what it's been for the last patch or so. Now they're going to take it and meet it in the middle. You'll have a 55% healing taken reduction whenever you enter PvP.
And the healers rejoice.
An extra 5%. We'll take it. The healers, I think solo players rejoice
Yeah.
also, man. Like I notice my StamSorc has had a really hard time in battlegrounds and stuff here lately. Like I always rely on mobility on that guy to stay alive, but I feel like I absolutely have to stay on the move at all times, or I'll just get melted in a moment because he just uses a bunch of heals over time, which in the past worked really well, but it's a struggle these days.
Yeah. I mean, overall, this is just good because anybody who's been in battlegrounds here lately and probably, upcoming with Markarth, it's just total carnage. It's a bloodbath right now.
Man,
Anybody can kill you. Anybody's, deaths are happening at a complete maximum. So a little bit extra healing. I think everybody will take that right now.
yeah, and this is one of the few. I feel like this is a unicorn here lately, like a buff to healing to survivability.
Yeah.
Seems like it's all been going in extremely the opposite direction here lately.
Yeah, for sure.
They're still experimenting with Oblivion's foe. Some work. They're reworking it again. So the current version, this is a crafted set. The current version, the 5-piece bonus, your soul magic attacks deal an extra 2466 damage. And that's abilities from the soul magic skill line, right? Like one that like your character gets at the very beginning of the game. So yeah, that's the current version. Soul Magic attacks deal an extra 2466 damage. The new version, the 5-piece bonus, when you deal damage with a Soul Magic ability, you mark the target's soul, dealing 12,820 magic damage over 10 seconds. It's a pretty strong dot. As long as they are not already marked from you. And that's how they worded it in the description there. And that was confusing for me at the time because I was thinking, well, it's a 10-second duration, and as long as they're not already marked by you, so basically that amounts to a 10-second cooldown. Why don't they just say, 10-second cooldown? But the more I think about it, it's not the same thing, because like if the enemy cleanses the mark off, then you can mark them again, right? Because there is no cooldown. They just can't already be marked by you. And I think they also are trying to emphasize the fact that you can't refresh that duration yourself. You have to wait for that 10-second duration to expire, then you can mark them again. So I think those two things are kind of the thing that to keep in mind there.
I mean, I guess it's cool that they're trying something with the set, but I just feel like that, there was that one brief period, I think it was in the dot meta, wasn't it, that
Soul Trap.
Soul Trap was like, that was Soul Trap peak. That was like that ability. That was the peak of that ability's life. Everybody was using it. It was amazing. And then they nerfed it, I think, almost in the next PTS or the next patch. And I don't know. I don't know anybody's actually tried to make it. Maybe in PvE it's more. Maybe it's a nice dot to throw on there, but
it's just this new iteration of this set. I mean, I understand this isn't a set that anybody ever uses, so I get they want to try to spice it up, but I just don't really get what they're going for here. Like with the thing we were just talking about, as long as they're not already marked from you, like why not just make that a 10-second cooldown? Like why go through the rigmarole of like what is anyone gaining or anything from that? It's a weird design of a set, and I really don't think people are gonna use it still.
It's just not enough damage.
Not enough damage.
It's just not
Give
enough
us
damage.
More damage. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and the only other kind of set change I wanted to mention was the Frenzied Momentum. That's the new Arena 2-hander. They're just slightly buffing it this week. 10,834 up from 9,028. So a little bit of a buff there.
Yeah, that's a nice buff. Maybe this is a crazy thing to say, but I feel like this might become the most popular arena weapon.
It very well might. It'll definitely. I think it's definitely going to be the most popular out of this new batch.
Yeah,
and it'll be very popular in general for sure. I mean, an extra 10k damage from a heavy attack that you're going to do anyway.
Yeah, and almost everybody. And momentum is such a highly used skill, and so it's I could see this being very, very widely used.
Oh, for sure, no question. Other than that, that's kind of week 2. Like I said, week 2 is always not a lot exciting. Although, I remember the last patch actually, week 2 actually was pretty active, but that was rare.
They're keeping us guessing.
yeah. But they just kind of did some bug fixes for like some random art, animation, audio stuff. It's kind of mostly what's going on. Next week, usually week 3 is pretty exciting, so we'll see what's up there. That's really, otherwise, it's pretty slow news week. The only other thing that I saw is there's a October Crown Store showcase. If you want to go check that out, you can check out the forums and find the link for that if you just want to get a preview on what's going to be in the Crown Store this month. Some cool stuff. I don't know, nothing that I got like super excited about, but some stuff I might pick up.
Is it, I haven't taken a look at it. Is it kind of Halloween themed stuff going into October or?
Yeah, it's a lot of Nordy kind of stuff.
Whoa, hey! Then we should be very excited. Hold on.
Speaking of which, we checked out that new house that we got from the Antiquities event, right? It's pretty nice.
Very nice. Very, very impressed with it. Really big house. It's not, we've talked about this. It's not Sijic Villa size, but it's a very, very big house. Really well designed. The outside's really cool. The inside's really unique and cool. we've all talked about this. This, I might move this to my main house. I'm going to wait to Markarth to see kind of what houses come out with that. But this has a chance to be my new kind of primary residence.
For a free house, man, it's I mean, you're right. Like the last time we got a free house, the Grand Civic Villa, it's like absurdly huge. I was actually kind of pleased that it's big, but it's not like unfathomably huge the way the villa is. Like,
yeah.
Well, I remember seeing that thing and like, how am I ever going to fill this up and actually make it feel like a home? Like, there's no way. It's awesome for a guild hall, and that's what we use it for. But this thing, I might actually like move my main character in there, and that actually be my home. Yeah. It's really, really nice and very cool design. It's a 3-story house. Like there's two flights of stairs to go up, and it's very Nordy. It's very arboreal, like trees and water and rocks and stuff. Yeah, really neat.
Yeah, they did a really good job. It is a really, really cool house. It's in Western Skyrim, so that's quick way to get to Western Skyrim.
And I didn't even do anything. Like I did like 1 antiquity during that event. That was my contribution.
I think I did a day's worth of antiquity, but outside of that, yeah, that's pretty much all I did. Thank you to the people that did more.
Yeah, you guys. Thanks for the house. Anything else you wanted to say about that?
There are some other cool rewards. The what are they called? The house assistant. What are they?
Oh yeah, the house guest.
Yep, the house guest. Also a very cool reward from that event. Just a really cool event. I mean, we kind of talked about this when they do big events like this. There's a good chance that the community will succeed. But just really
they
cool
intentionally make it a goal that's easy to reach for sure.
But yeah, I mean, just
like,
really cool.
Wouldn't it suck? We're like, oh, sorry guys, just didn't get it. No one gets the house. Sorry.
You guys were so close.
There's no way.
We're just going to throw it on the Crown Store now. You can buy it if you really want it.
I bet even if we didn't really reach the achievement, they just lie to us and say, oh, you did it. Good job, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we would never know, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't know.
That's a really hilarious good point. But really cool that they do that. Love logging in and getting a bunch of cool free stuff. We'll never complain about that.
We'll never complain about that.
Nord theme stuff. So
yeah,
give it all to me.
Well, why don't we talk about what we've been up to in the Elder Scrolls Online here lately? Davius, what have you been doing, man?
Lots of things. I was thinking about this. It's been a little while since we've talked about what we've been doing, with the schedule, and then last week was just crazy busy PTS. So this was actually
it's been a few weeks.
Yeah, so this is actually a couple weeks old now, but my character, the Never-Ending Nord, it's a necromancer. This is the one that originally was Magicka. It was my original vampire character. Everybody knows the saga of vampires. They're just not great. And so then I had talked about, how can I make this character work? I really like the name. I want to make it work. Switched over to stamina, and then you actually kind of talked me off that ledge of you have a lot of stamina characters. You need another Magicka character.
And you have a stamina necromancer.
I have a stamina necromancer already. So I kind of you have a fantastic Magicka necromancer, Despair. And I kind of works really well. We've talked about that character. But I kind of took some ideas about your build that worked really well. I did the infused ice staff. No, not the charged ice staff. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The charged ice staff. Kind of those kind of ideas, but the overall build. Let me start by talking about that. Is that I did a 5-piece Beekeeper, which is the set that is health recovery. Gives I think it's like 900 health recovery, and then
I think the 5-piece bonus says health recovery out the wazoo. I think is what the description says.
Exactly, and this is one they just recently changed, where it used to be the 2 through 4 was health recovery, and then the 5-piece was just a little bit more. But it basically gives the same amount of massive health recovery, but the 2 through 4 is actually health now.
I think
which
it
is
gives
really
more.
nice.
I think it gives even more health recovery than it did before. And
Yeah.
we talked about it in a previous episode. I'm pretty sure it amounts to more total health recovery overall and a lot more health.
Yeah, a really huge buff for that. So I'm using the 5-piece Beekeeper, and then I'm actually, this is kind of the surprise one, but I'm doing 5-piece Winter's Respite. I actually kind of already had this. I was using it on Davius for a little bit, but I pulled it off him. And so I kind of had it, put it on there to try it, loved how it worked. This is just the one that when you use a ground, essentially, I don't know how it's worded, but essentially if you use a ground AoE ability, it's going to pop up a circle of healing. That's a really, really good heal over time. Mm-hmm. And then I'm using the 2-piece Troll King monster set. So, like I said, it was kind of, I got some ideas from Despair, and just that it's definitely a support, most Magicka builds are going to, in PvP builds, are going to have some sort of kind of support theme, but I went heavy on the support. Yeah. I went heavy on the support theme, kind of, and then, with Despair, I've seen you use that character. The Necromancer Totem is a great ability. Really kind of takes over an area. You can kind of really claim a spot, or you can kind of lead people certain ways in Battlegrounds.
Yeah, with the Wall of Frost, like those two paired together is
Yeah. So the Charged Frost Staff, I use Wall of Frost. I use the Necromancer's Totem. And then I actually use the Necromancer AoE heal. I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, yeah. I know. I can't remember the name either, but yeah, play like puts a circle on the ground and it can consume a corpse and cleanse and all of that.
Yes, that's actually, the cleanse is the key part to that too, especially in today's Battleground. But so that's actually the spammable heal that I use. But kind of all of this put together, it has created a really cool build of, I've said health recovery quite a bit. The health recovery on this character is, I'll quote Ket, that is out the wazoo. I think when Troll Kings goes off, it's somewhere like around 2,500 health recovery.
Which isn't affected by Battle Spirit. Like that's, all your healing gets cut in half or more than half right now, but your health recovery isn't affected. You have the same health recovery no matter what.
Yeah.
Really nice.
It has worked really, really well. It is a very, very tough character to bring down. And it's got really, it's got strong heals. That heal, when it consumes a corpse, it turns into a really strong heal. And, I've always got extra corpses. And the Winter's Respite works really nice with the totem or that heal, because it lets me kind of aim where I want to throw that Winter's Respite ability. So wherever I throw the totem, or wherever I throw that heal, or even if I throw down a Wall of Frost, the Winter's Respite is going to pop up right underneath all three of those abilities. And so it's I've had some really cool moments with the build. I was in one Battleground. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one that's kind of in the Imperial City area. And there's portals that take you up to like a second level. But you can still look over the middle.
Is that one called Arcane University? Is that what that one's called?
That sounds right. Yeah, I think it is that one. But I was up top, and I was finishing off a fight.
That's your favorite map, right?
Oh gosh. That's a good point. That is my least favorite Battleground map, because probably because what I'm about to say, people go up to this top and they just kind of rain down on the people that are fighting in the middle.
The ranged players, they just go straight up top and camp up there.
Yep, that's where they hang out. So I kind of did the reverse of that. So I went up top and I was finishing a fight, but then when I turned to go down, my teammates had already beat me down and they were in a fight down the bottom, and I was doing like these ranged heals where I was throwing the totem and then I was throwing my AoE heal, and then the Winter's Respite popped up underneath them. And so I was doing all of these things at a range that it was kind of wild to, I just hadn't really had that type of support character that could have that kind of range and that kind of support and be so far away. And so cool. It's a really cool build. It actually kind of secretly does quite a bit of damage. I don't have any weapon damage put into the build. But where it gets its damage is, we were talking about that Beekeeper having a lot of max health. The max health on this character is a lot. It's a Nord, obviously. And the 5-piece beekeeper with those 2, 3, 4, all that max health, that causes the Bone Goliath ultimate. I have the Morph that does the AoE around you, and that's actually the damage from that is determined from your max health. And so that's actually the main ultimate I use. One, because it's just another way for this character to be very hard to kill. So if they do finally get through all my health recovery, then I can pop that ultimate, full heal.
And they're probably out of stamina by that point.
Yep. And so, but the max health, I think I'm around 60,000.
When you're in Goliath form?
Yeah. It bumps my health to around 60,000, which causes that AoE to do, I think it's around 5,000 damage per second. When people are in that AoE.
That's so funny because up to that point, you're really not dealing hardly any damage, right? So they don't see it coming at all.
Exactly.
They probably just think you're a giant target dummy, so they just stand right in it.
Yep. And there's so many times you can see that happen in a battleground, or even just in an Imperial City, or anywhere where it's PvP, is that they kind of, you go through the dance of they kind of hit me, I kind of live through it, I'm really hard to kill, and so they'll kind of move to other teammates, and they really just kind of know that I'm a healer, and so if there are groups there, they'll try to focus me. But if it's just 1 or 2 people, then they'll kind of move on because they're like, all right, this guy's tanky, I can't kill him. And then when I switch into that Bone Goliath form, it's kind of like, you can just tell they're like, what the heck just happened? Like, where did all this damage come from?
Yeah.
But yeah, it has created some really, really positive results and some good numbers in Battlegrounds because, with it being a Nord, I do get that ultimate relatively quickly. And so I can pop it quite a bit, and it's worked out really well so far. Very tanky, really strong heals, and then when you switch to that Bone Goliath, you can really melt down a group and really turn the damage up.
That's
it's
awesome.
Worked out. Yeah, it's worked out really well. I've had a lot of fun with that character.
Dude, whenever Group BGs come back, which they're coming back, we gotta pair our MagCros up and just go on a troll streak. It's going to be awesome.
We've talked about this with these characters. When you're in a battleground, it's maybe the trolliest I've ever felt, because I can see people go through their full combos, and I just can't stand there and take it. That's not how health recovery works. But with just movement, going around a pillar, go around a rock, and just you can see these people just burning through their resources so much just to get through this. It's maybe the trolliest I've ever felt.
And you're throwing all the CC around for them to get through as well.
Yeah, the frost, the wall of frost gets thrown down, the totem gets thrown down, so they're feared, they're slowed. The charged frost staff, it's just...
Yeah, it's not a good time for them.
It's oppressive. But it works out to be a really good time for me, so...
That's what's important.
Yeah. And so that character, I'm really happy that I finally got that character in a good spot. It's worked out really well. So that's kind of what I've been, most of the BGs I've been doing have been that character lately. And like I said, it's worked out really well. The other thing I've been up to, the promise that I feel like I've told people for the last 10 episodes is that I'm leveling my werewolf character.
Mm-hmm. I'm a witness. I've seen him log in with this character.
It's happened. I'm actually in the leveling stages. I'm about halfway there. Started the leveling. I still got to farm the gear, but we've talked about this. Both sets I'm running dropped from the same dungeon. So I think it's going to be maybe one of the most easy dungeon farms I've ever done.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and so the werewolf support build, it's happening. Should be just a week or two, and this thing.
Yeah, I got to make my werewolf now. Now you're forcing my hand. I have no choice. I have to buy a new character slot to do it, though. I'll do it.
It's gonna happen. So yeah, this is the werewolf support build should be out in the world shortly. I did want to talk about one of the cool changes that kind of you brought to my attention in the Discord chat for the guild. The the jewelry glyphs that you can actually reduce your potion cooldown, which will work really well with one of those sets, because I think it's every 30 seconds you can drink a potion and everybody gets, I don't know how much it is, but it's a bunch. It's like,
I think it's 40 ultimate.
Yeah, it's like 44 ultimate or something like that. And so, but we talked in the past of that's crazy, because potions cooldowns is 40 seconds. And so how does that work? Like,
or 45, I think.
Or yeah, even 45 seconds. And so we're like, how can that work? But these jewelry glyphs, I think each one reduces your potion cooldown time by 5 seconds, or like 5 point something seconds. And so with 3 jewelry glyphs, that's going to take it to where I can actually make that set work every 30 seconds.
Like proc on cooldown.
Yeah. So I can just constantly be throwing 44 ultimate every 30 seconds.
And those glyphs have been in the game a long time. I just had forgotten, and just was reminded. Like I just came across them. I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be perfect for Davis's werewolf build. So I sent you a link to that.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to be doing on the build. Is all 3 jewelry glyphs will be that. That should be really cool.
That'll be awesome.
And then the last thing is that I have finally picked my final character slot. This is my 9th character slot. Create a new character. Me and you have talked about this, of what my last character was going to be. You've highly recommended there be Magicka due to my massive amount of stamina characters, which I agree with. And I just went with the old reliable. I created a new Templar, and it's going to be a Magicka Templar. And it's going to be a PvP character. It's going to be a damage dealing / support, kind of like Magicka. And I know, some people out there are like, wait a minute, your main is a Magicka Templar. But we've kind of talked about this. Davius has really kind of just assumed his own unique role. It's kind of his own unique class. He never deals any damage. He's 100% heals in his PvP setup. And then he's got a lot of that, I tank with him mostly now, but now the group battlegrounds have come back, I'll be able to use him again. But he's kind of so different, I don't really want to touch him, but I do like the idea of a Magicka Templar in battlegrounds. They're really good. They've got a cleanse,
like a more offensive focused
yes,
kind of,
yeah. The healing jabs, they've got a lot of great abilities that I kind of want to take advantage of. And I love the Templar class. That's my favorite class. And so I created a new Magicka Templar that I think is going to be a lot of fun. I don't have build ideas yet. I'm still kind of going through sets and things like that.
It's hard to make a bad build with MagPlar, I think.
Yeah. I'll find something. I'm not worried about it, but I'll find some unique twist to it that hopefully will make it be fun in Battlegrounds. But the name of the new character, I'm very happy about the name. The Bard of Sovngarde.
Very good. We were talking about this the other day. You have these like phases of character naming schemes. You had your bear phase.
The bear phase.
Now it's all like very Nord-centric.
Yeah. Nord-centric rhyming phase is the phase I'm in now.
Nord rhyming names.
Yeah. I've got my werewolf is the Gift of the Rift, and then this one is the Bard of Sovngarde. So,
that's great.
And so...
he's got the drunk personality, right?
He's got the drunk personality. This new, the new crown crates right now are the Sovngarde theme. I already got the new Sovngarde bear that will be his mount. And I've kind of made his entire look kind of match that style of bear. We joked about this. I created the character. I've only played with the character I've maybe killed 2 mobs with the character, but I have put about an hour into the look of the character. That's the important part.
It does look cool.
I've got the look down.
Awesome.
But yeah, that is basically what I have been up to.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I'm surprised. I was expecting you to maybe make a MagDK, a Magicka Warden, maybe something like that.
That's funny you say that. That was what it was down to, is that I really thought it was either going to be a Mag Warden or MagDK. That was kind of what I thought it was going to be. And then when I went to create the character, I was like, I just know the Templar class so well. I know all the abilities like the back of my hand, even all the morphs. And I really wanted a Magicka Templar that could do some damage, but I didn't want to change Davies up. you know, I almost gave you a heart attack a while back when I said Davius might deal some damage. He just can't do it.
Yeah.
He can't deal damage.
Yeah. It doesn't seem right. You think you'll buy some more character slots in the future and maybe make a warden? Or?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think that I still would like a Mag DK seems really fun, and a Magica Warden. Just for how much I like support classes, a Magica Warden might be. I feel bad to say this because I love Templar, but Magica Warden might be the best support class out there.
I think for small scale PvP, no question, the best support class.
They just have so many things that are helpful for the group, and can still be effective damage.
Yeah, like solo, they can carry their own. Like you can build a warden in such a way where they're just ready for anything, whatever situation they're in, they're equipped for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's cool. Well, what I've been up to is mostly just focusing on my StamSorc. And really just on PTS, because I'm so pumped about this this new Pale Order, Ring of the Pale Order, and the setup that I'm going to have with that. So I've really just kind of been running around on PTS, just seeing kind of what I can do with it. How survivable can I be, and how can I tweak my build to squeeze the most out of it with that kind of being factored in. And it's going to be pretty nice. So. My current setup, well, like on the live server, my StamSorc is using Briarheart, Morkelden, Troll King, and then a Master Bow on the back bar, and he's a dual wield on the front bar. And it uses the Serpent Mundus, and then one recovery glyph, and then everything else is damage focused. So the change that I'm making now is I'm getting rid of Troll King, and that's just going to become a one-piece Doma House, I think, just to get that extra max stamina and magicka. And then I'm going to use the Ring of the Pale Order. So I'll still use Briarheart and Morkelden, just getting rid of the monster set and basically replacing it with the new ring and a one-piece monster set. And then I'm going to swap to the Warrior Damage Mundus and go all damage glyphs on all of my jewelry. Because, as we talked about in the last episode, major and minor endurance are being doubled.
Yeah, massive buff.
Yeah, so I'm going to have a whole lot more recovery, even considering, like, I'm taking all of the recovery investments in my build out, right? I'm not using the recovery Mundus anymore. There are no recovery glyphs on my jewelry. It's damage across the board, and I'm still gaining 100 stamina recovery over what I currently have, and an extra 400 weapon damage.
And 400 weapon damage to this character, I feel like I should just stress, that is terrifying for considering how hard he already hits.
Yeah. It takes him up to about 5,600, something like that, with a like a 57% crit rate and no CP.
Yikes!
He hits really, really hard. That's why he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, and crit on a StamSorc is so, obviously that's great for damage, but it's so good on a StamSorc just for so many other reasons, with the heals, and I mean, just oof.
Yeah, and it's nice, like the Pale Order, like getting rid of Troll King and replacing it with Pale Order. It's a massive difference in survivability. Like Pale Order is just way, way stronger. And I don't think it gets affected by Battle Spirit either. I think it just straight up scales off of your damage done, and I don't think Battle Spirit is affecting the amount of healing you're taking from that.
That's interesting. So it's a true heal. So it kind of works like a health recovery almost.
Yeah. That may change, but that's how it is right now. So I'm just getting really jazzed about that. I'm just really waiting for that patch to drop so I can start farming this thing right away, and it's going to take this dude to the next level. I mean, I know everyone's going to be using this thing, so I'm not going to be the only one. It's just the kind of the playing field is being elevated because of this thing, I think, in general, and because of these recovery buffs as well.
Yeah.
And I've been playing with some support builds as well. Like, really, I've mostly been playing with support builds lately, and then just like the other day, I was just like, man, I haven't killed stuff in a while. I need to get on the StamSorc and start doing that, but I've still been spending quite a bit of time with my Magicka Necromancer as well, and my Magicka Warden. I've been doing a lot of battlegrounds lately, and especially my Mag Warden is kind of my go-to. If I don't know who else to play with in a BGs, like I know I'm going to have a good time with this character, like no question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's about everything. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up?
Um, I don't think so. I think that's about everything. You've talked a lot about your excitement for this Ring the Pale Order. I feel like that I have to equally match that with my excitement for the Pearls of
Elnafay.
Elnafay. I'll learn to say it better. That's one goal. But I've looked more at that ability. Obviously, I'm going to throw it on Davius. It's just perfect for him. But I was thinking about this. Me and you both have Stam DKs that are really big on ultimate gain. And I could see that even being pretty good for them because it's a lot. I could see it being a major source for ultimate generation. And the strategy with those Stam DKs is to go really, really low on sustain because just with the built-in, Dragon Knight passives, you kind of, when you use ultimate, you get your sustain back. And so I don't know about you, but my character is low on sustain a lot. And so I could see this proccing quite a bit even on that character.
Yeah, like Mag DKs don't really invest in recovery because they have other like things built into their class that helps them recover resources in other ways. So yeah, that makes sense because they're heavily reliant on getting their ultimate to restore resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, no emails this week, but if you'd like to send us an email, you can email us at scrollinpodcast@gmail.com. That's scrollin with an I-N, no G, scrollinpodcast@gmail.com. I'd like to give a shout out to Grizzly Khan. Hasn't really done anything, I don't think, this week, but I'm sure he's out there doing something good somewhere. So, Grizzly, I hope you're doing well. We have a guild called Stoon's Goons. It's mainly a social guild with somewhat of a PvP bend, but we really do a little bit of everything. And mostly what we do is just hang out in Discord and tell jokes and trade memes and what have you. But it's a good time. If you're interested, let us know. You can hit us up in-game at Ket Sparrowhawk or at Star Jumper. We have Goon Nights, which is we all just get together and kind of just go do some PvP. Normally in Imperial City, but here pretty soon that might end up being a lot of battlegrounds. It's been on Friday nights up to this point. That may or may not change just because my personal schedule has changed quite a bit. We're going to try to keep it Friday nights for now, but just heads up, that could change. Okay, I think that's an episode. Snap. 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Now the boom. Oh, no. Had to do it.
I jump early on the boom, you know? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. You can't wait.
that?
You wake up in the morning. You can't wait to say that boom.
That's what I look for. Just as soon as the eyes open, a boom is coming.
That's the episode title. A boom is coming.
A boom is coming.
Write that out as a possibility.
Yeah, it could be.